course, when I want to start filming this, my camera starts dying. I don't want this to be a long and drawn out video, but I've been pondering with myself for months now on how to make this video, how to eloquently explain and express this video to bless the listener, but to also make sure it just makes sense. So if you aren't familiar with the book of Job is about a righteous man who was blameless. He always praised God for everything he had in his life. And the devil, of course, as he wants to kill, steal, and destroy, wanted to play a game with God and basically was like, Job only blesses you because you give him all these things. He has all this material, he's very wealthy, he has a great family, all the things that people would love to have. Of course he's going to bless you. And the Lord was like, okay, I give you the permission to test Job, and you'll see that he will still choose me each and every time. The thing that I love about the book of Job is because in present day, we know what happens. We know that Job was brought back up in the end, but during his trial, he had no idea what was to come. All he knew was to praise God no matter what was going on around him. And the devil, obviously that made him angrier and to try even harder to rip away Job's faith, but it was unwavering. I also will be referencing the book of Joel as well, but I guess I'll just get into everything that I want to talk about here. So for the past year, almost, December, next month will be a year. Happy November. I have basically been homeless, which is crazy to even think and reflect on because it's just been a year that this has been going on. Some things happened towards the end of last year to where I lost where I lived. And before we knew that we had to leave from the lease, we were looking for a new apartment or a home, wherever to go. We had gotten approved for one, but then that leasing agent, she ended up quitting in the middle of our process and nothing was ever went forward, and then they said that our application was denied. Moving forward, when the day came that we're basically supposed to leave our apartment, we just went to a hotel overnight. That was fine. It was actually one of my very best friend's birthdays, so I remember the exact date of when all of this happened, and it's creeping up on a year. It'll be, we need like 45 more days, and it'll be a whole year that I have been doing this. Excuse the loud neighbor. So yeah, we were in a hotel for a little bit. I didn't know how long this was gonna go on, but I definitely, in hindsight, 11 months ago, didn't think that it would still be happening up until basically about a month ago. And when all this happened, I just started working a new job. Well, I was working the same job, but I was promoted in the company, and I had become one of the managers there. So prior to that, I was only doing like my online coaching at the time. I had dropped a lot of clients, so my monthly revenue was not that much. So I was really grateful to have this new job, and this new position was actually something I had made a prayer board at the end of last year, like in the fall time or something. And with that video, that was like one of the things that I put on there, to like get promoted, and like my then boss, for him to promote me, because it was up to him. And I saw that a couple of months later, like after I had moved, because I had to disassemble my prayer board and I just got rid of it. So anyway, I was really grateful for that. But the thing is, since I wasn't making that much money from my personal business and all my other things, And not even just from that, just from some other choices, I was in a lot of debt. So I was living, not only living in a hotel, but paycheck to paycheck. And every single paycheck, I wasn't able to pay off credit cards because I was having to utilize that money in order to have a roof over my head on a day-to-day basis. There were some days that I was really down in the dumps. I didn't know what my next day was looking like, but I had to keep a smile on my face, and I had to go and work for 8, sometimes 12 hours a day in an environment that was new to me, a new job, so that was already a stress. My home life was a wreck, and I really just started to get into my walk with Christ, and this was maybe like 4 or 5 months in, and a month away from when I decided I was going to get baptized. Spiritual warfare. I remember one day specifically, it was a payday, and I was so excited because I was looking on like my pay stubs, and I saw that that was one of the bigger checks I had gotten in the few months that I had been in management, and I think I'd gotten a bonus or something for the new year. The same exact day, the hotel swiped my entire card from, I guess, the previous day's stay. And not only did they take all of what I made, which that check was around like a $1,500, but it took more, and so I went to negative. That happened for a little bit, and then it was even like I had like a brand deal from a couple of months back that took like a 30 or 60 days to give me the payout, and that was like an $800 deal that was taken as well, just everything. So I wasn't able to save, I wasn't able to just do a lot of stuff. And when all of this happened, I didn't realize that I was really a person who thrives off of routine. I know I like being in a routine, but I'm also I'm a kind of a spontaneous person to where if something goes off track, I'm okay and I can go with the flow. But this was a complete like knocker for me. I'm used to eating very healthy, being very strict with my diet, eating like gluten-free foods or making my own almond milk, my own, granola. I'm a very like crunchy person, as some people like to say that term, but I eat very organic just because I care about like my internal health. And most hotels don't have a place for you to cook. So I'm eating now fast food every day, just to have food, and then that's even more money that I'm having to spend because I need to eat. If the hotel happened to have a free complimentary breakfast or whatever it's called, or continental breakfast, I was able to go and eat that, which for this one hotel, I pretty much ate, which I'm very thankful for, eggs and potatoes for probably like 4 months straight, unless I just didn't want to go during the mornings. That hotel rarely ever had hot water. So, and if we had hot water, we would have to turn on like the bathroom sink. That one had like a little kitchenette situation, so I could turn that on as well. And then we would have hot water for maybe like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So I was just really starting to realize all the small things in life that people truly do take for granted on a daily basis because you don't know it until it's gone. When it came to having to do laundry, I, again, was a person who worked out. I'm a personal trainer. I was off my routine because that's even double the clothes that I would be having to wear, and I don't have access to a laundry. So then even more money was having to go to the laundromat. I don't know when the last time you've been to one was, even though I did begin to enjoy actually going there. It was just like a peaceful thing for the most part. They were pretty empty. Some days they'd be busy, but yeah, they were expensive. I don't know if it's just because inflation happened or just whatever, but to do just like 2 loads of laundry was like $12, and having to do that, whereas you can do it for free if you want to wash clothes every single day in a month, you're still not going to run out of like laundry detergent. Yeah, that was a whole different thing. But then time came. I was in this first hotel from February until June. In June, I months prior had booked a trip to Puerto Rico for my birthday because every year of my 20s I wanted to spend it in a different country, and I started to be able to do that last year on my 23rd birthday, or on my 24th birthday actually. So I went to Puerto Rico still, regardless of what was going on. I was like, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna enjoy myself, and I'm not gonna think about all the hell that I've been through the past 6 months of my life. Mind you, I'm backtracking all over the place because I don't really know where I'm going with the story other than the whole message of being encouraged, but it's just been on my heart to just get it out. Months ago, I had a dream, and I had it maybe like the first month, the second month that we were staying in the hotel, and it was a dream that I was giving birth, and I was always brought up in the way of my dreams are signs from the Lord, and I know that some dreams are just silly, but most dreams are like a warning or foreshadowing or something, and they are symbolic most of the time. And so I didn't really think anything of this dream until maybe, I don't even know, until like July or August of this year. Mind you, I had this dream in January or so. I wrote a note on my phone when I had it, and it wasn't that I had one baby, I had two, but I was having an issue like during the labor. And so I began to go and read through the Bible about birthing pains and how, and even though I loved my job and I was really excited to be in it, I knew that's not what I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to go back to having my own free time, to just wake up when I want to in the day, even though I'm an early person, just to be able to pour into my clients. I had just recently released a Bible study journal. It's coming up, actually this month will be a year that I released that. Wow. And I wanted to get back to the things that the Lord has called me to do and just walk fully in my purpose. And I knew being at my job was not my purpose. But I was scared to leave. And it took me maybe like 4 or 5 months to finally leave, because I left in September. And it's because that was my norm. Because when we came back from Puerto Rico in June, I was literally in the Puerto Rico airport looking for a hotel to stay that night when I arrived back home to Atlanta. We stayed at that one for maybe 2 months, had to move again. In total, I've been in 9 hotels since December of last year. I'm in the middle of editing my video right now, and I forgot to mention during all of this, we went looking for apartments and houses. I wish I counted how many we looked at and how many applications we applied for homes. If I had to guess, we probably looked at like 40 houses, like actual houses, and maybe like 7, 8, maybe even close to 10 apartment complexes. We didn't apply to every single one because obviously not every single one was like fitting our need and things like that, or what we thought we needed. But for the ones we did apply to, that was probably like a total of like $2,000 worth of wasted money. Because when you got, well, I don't know if you guys know, but at least here in Georgia, when you apply for a home, if you don't get approved, that's a non-refundable fee. So it's not like we were staying here with the purpose of, oh, we're just going to stay here and, we're not trying to find something else. We were trying. There were so many days, as soon as I would get off work, we were going to go tour homes. I spent a lot of my weekends the first few months of this year only spending it going town to town, calling realtors, looking at homes, touring apartments, and every single one was a no, and still to this moment is a no. But it took me months to leave and want to leave my job because I was getting a paycheck, a sturdy and steady paycheck every 2 weeks. I was paying off my debt, and it was just my norm. Even though work could be chaotic on a day-to-day basis, I could still go to work and I'd have some sort of structure and routine, and that made me happy. And it was kind of like my safe place at that point. Because I'm going there 5 days a week. I'm only at church between 1 and 2 times a week if I go to Bible study, if I can make it, because sometimes work interfered with that. But but I knew I was being disobedient to the Lord by not leaving. But I didn't understand, because I'm like, God, if like you see what my life is like right now, I'm holding on to you faithfully. I'm, pouring myself into your word. I'm focusing on all the things on your kingdom, but my life is still in disarray, and you want me to leave the one and only thing that's normal for me right now? I can't do that. And I didn't have trust. But then I kept going back to this one Bible study I was doing with myself. I wish I had my notebook with me to read an excerpt from it. I might put it in here, take a picture or something. But I basically was talking about letting go and letting God, and having a faith like Peter of, walking on the water. Don't pay attention to the things that are around you, because if you just keep your eyes on Jesus, everything will be okay. And it's from the book of Matthew of, don't worry about tomorrow, because tomorrow has each day has its worries of its own. And that's really the Bible verse I picked up to keep me through during this season, as well as First Peter. I believe it's 5:10. I know it's in First Peter, but about, after a little while, like you're going to endure pain and suffering, but, after a little while, everything's going to be okay. I'm very much butchered and paraphrase that, but I'll have all the verses down below. But just to stay encouraged through all of this, because it's been so difficult. The thing is where I just feel like I came in, or I can relate to the book of Job, is because I lost so much around me. One, I lost my home. I lost my car. I didn't really lose any friend stuff around me. And no matter what, I never, like Job's friends wanted him to, I never cursed the Lord. Of course, there's been days I've been and had the filthiest attitude in the world. My heart was not anything like Jesus's heart, but I'm human. And of course, it's difficult when you're going through something and you don't know when it's ending to always be in high spirits. But overall, I tried to stay very, encouraged, and just, I only had two people really this entire time that's knowing what's going on. One of my best friends, and she's always been so prayerful for me, and still is during this season, because she knows it's still, whatever for the other party. And my now fiance, when this happened, like, he always was praying for me. I would tell him bits and pieces of things that were going on, and he always was so helpful. And then when we actually became closer and friends and whatnot, he would allow me to come over, and I was very thankful for that, to be in like a normal space and situation. And he would let me leave things there of just to like make my life kind of normal. He would allow me to like film or make videos at his house if I needed to. And then our relationship transpired to what it is now. We're about to get married in a couple of days, which is so crazy to think about, because it's like, even though I was going through and have been going through, and still it's not done yet completely, one of the hardest seasons of my life, the Lord still blessed me through it, and the Lord still kept me through it, because it could have been worse. It was by the grace of God that there was a blessing attached to the reason we were able to have the means to be over in a hotel, or to have a roof over our head for however many months, for 9-10 months. I still had a functioning car to get back and forth to work. I still had a place to go and wash my clothes. I still had a place to work out if I needed to. I was still able to make it to church. Even through all this, I went on a fast at one point back in May for this, and that was a fast for a situation and tying to the whole home situation, healing for someone, and then just confirmation about if my soon-to-be husband is my husband. But through it all, I've still just, like, Lord, you know what you're doing. Just staying grounded in those Bible. And so through all of this was something also I heard the Lord just kept telling me to prepare, and I just realized that I was being pruned for something. And the thing is, I still don't really know what all I'm being pruned for, what I was being prepared for, or, I'm still in a season of preparation. But I do know some of the things, like now I'm living in my answered prayers. Some things are still unspoken for, and I'll probably never know the answer why I had to go through what I did and why it's still somewhat going on, because they're still not a home for my mother. I had to learn how to live pretty minimalistic. I was living out of like 1 to 3 bags. Everything else that I owned was in a storage. But the thing is, the Lord is restoring everything that's been lost, and this is when the book of Joel comes in, and I just wanted to read an excerpt from Joel 2:25, which says, "I will repay you for the years that the locusts have eaten, the great locust and the young locust, the other locust and the locust swarm, my great army that I sent among you. You will have plenty to eat until you are full, and you will praise the name of the Lord your God, who has worked wonders for you. Never again will my people be shamed." I highly suggest you read this book. It's only 3 chapters, but I'm being restored, and I believe a lot of this has to go through because I'm now walking in my obedience of, I left my job, my security, my safety blanket that I didn't want to a couple of weeks ago, and my husband and I, or not my husband yet, but my fiance and I, we are paying for our wedding, which is thousands of dollars that I have, but I don't have, but I have it by the grace of God. That I've been able to do the things that I'm able to, and He's fulfilling now my promises, although I was delaying my promise due to disobedience because I was scared. My faith was small. I didn't have the big faith of, what I needed to in the moment. I know this video is a bit all over the place, but I just needed to get this out. Like I said, this has been on my heart for months, and I just didn't know where to begin or end, and it didn't matter, because at the end of the day, the whole message of this is for somebody, if you're going through something, just stay focused on Jesus, because truly He's been my own. If I didn't have Him, I probably would have lost my mind. I don't know if I would have been as strong if I had not continuously called on the Lord. And the nights I've cried myself to sleep during this, the nights I've just pleaded and just been on my knees praying, just having so many things stripped away from me, wondering why, but also just me still being obedient, and then, faithfully paying my tithes, faithfully reading my word, trying to stay rooted in Him no matter what. And of course, like I said, I had my very human, fleshy days of, I'm pissed off, I don't want to talk to anybody. But at the end of the day, it could be so much worse. It could have been so much worse. And although not everything has been restored yet, I know it's on the way, because He is a promise-keeping God. I just want to finish the last part on my phone because I'm not really saying too much, I'm probably just going in circles, but just stay encouraged. I know it's hard, and like I said, and I guess another part to this is just be nice to people. And this really, I think when I worked in like the customer service of management, of just realizing like, yeah, some of these people might come at me sideways at work, but I don't know what they're going through at home. I might look like a normal average girl. I'm like, some days I went dolled up like this. Some days I went as if I just rolled out of the bed and didn't have a care in the world, because I'm like, I don't understand why I'm going through what I am, but I still had to go at work, do my job. And like I said, some people might come at me crazy some days, but I don't know what they're going through, because for the most part, like I said, nobody knew what I was going through at all besides my now fiance and my best friend. There was nobody else that I spoke to about any of this, and that's what I've been going through. But the things of restoration, it's like now I am, not only did I leave, not only was like a home left behind, or not only did I lose where I was living, but now I've been restored with a home and a family to build with. And I know that marriage is a ministry, I learned different life skills that I probably did not have that I might need in the future, you know, when I'm a wife, a mother. You know, I really deeply, I definitely gained a new level of faith, of just staying in God no matter what happens. Because this is definitely probably one of the toughest things that I've gone through. And I would even honestly say this has been even more difficult than losing a parent and a grandparent, two people that were very influential and very important in my life. And that happened in the past 3 years that I've lost them. But over and above all, and I know I'm whispering, but it's just because someone's sleeping right now. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've gone through. But I just want you guys to stay encouraged. I encourage you all to also read the book of Joel. It's a really quick read, but it's really good. And to read the book of Job. I read that earlier this year when I had that come to my mind that I'm like, I know I'm going through such a Job season, but the great thing is we know how his story ends, and that's another way to just stay encouraged and rooted and just focus on God, because he's going to pull you out of what you're going through. So I love you guys, and thanks for listening, and I will see you in another video or on Instagram or wherever you found my page. Bye, y'all.